Doug Andrew recommends that you roll your IRA into an IUL. Good idea? Let's take a look at Doug's rationale behind the strategy, and then I'll give you my comments afterwards.
The most common strategy that I employ for many people who have saved money in traditional IRAs or 401ks is to get the money out, the taxes over and done with sooner than later, and enjoy tax-free income forever after. And many times we end up increasing their net spendable income by 50%, 100%, even 4 times where they would have had income out of an IRA or 401k.
Wow, this sounds really good. I'm on pins and needles. Sounds far superior to the traditional tax-deferred retirement approach that most of America is currently doing. But let's keep going.
The biggest strategy that I'm probably credited with as a financial strategist and tax minimization specialist is a strategic rollout. It's not a rollover. A rollover is what most people hear about. That's taking money in a 401k, rolling it over to an IRA, continuing to postpone and procrastinate paying tax until your age, 72 or 73, and then taking RMDs, required minimum distributions, throughout your life expectancy and your spouse's life expectancy, and leaving it behind to your kids. That's the worst advice for most Americans, and I can prove it to you.
Okay, if what he's objecting to here is rolling a 401k into an IRA and then leaving it there until you die, then I think I can get on board with this. After all, given the exploding national debt, most experts are predicting that taxes even 10 years from now will have to rise dramatically to keep our country solvent. Let's keep listening to see exactly where Doug is going with this.
No, you need to get the taxes over and done with sooner than later at today's lower tax rates, because most Americans believe that tax rates in the future are likely to be higher. And while your account values are lower, instead of continuing to postpone and grow your money to some future perceived unknown advantage and then withdraw your money when you have more of it in a higher tax bracket. That doesn't make sense. No, you need to get it down here to this green bucket. So that's called a strategic rollout.
Okay, I'm still on board. From what I understand about a strategic rollout so far, it aligns fairly closely with my own personal worldview. Pay taxes now at lower rates on lower balances, let those balances grow tax-free, then withdraw those dollars at a period in time when tax rates are likely to be higher than they are today. This I can live with. But where exactly should the dollars inside these 401ks and 403bs be placed, if not an IRA? What tax-free option exactly is Doug recommending?
But this is the most underutilized and the least understood. It's the tax-free bucket. It could be Roth. It could be municipal bonds. Municipal bonds aren't very popular anymore because a lot of municipalities are actually filing bankruptcy. Roths, I've never owned a Roth, never will. So why would you mess around with a Roth with all these strings attached on how much you can set aside, what percent of your income? You can't touch it for 5 years or till you're 59 and a half. I don't want to mess around with any of those strings attached. I can put money into an MFTA, max funded tax advantage insurance contract, structured correctly and funded properly, esteemed a laser fund, and I can have the 2 benefits of a Roth. My money accumulates tax-free. I can take out tax-free income, and 4 additional benefits that Roths will never have.
Okay, now I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable. This is where my little antennae pop right up. Typically, whenever someone debases a Roth IRA, it's almost always an attempt to exalt cash value life insurance, in this case, IUL. Let's see if I'm right.
When I recommend people reposition assets to optimize them, they say, well, where? My favorite financial vehicle, without question, because of liquidity, safety, the predictable rates of return, and the tax-free growth, is a property structured max-funded IUL, Index Universal Life.
Okay, as I suspected, this is all building towards this final recommendation of liquidating your IRA or 401k over a period of time and systematically redirecting it to an IUL. This is a recommendation I am not comfortable with in the least. And this seems to be the stock and trade of Doug Andrew. Denigrate every tax-free alternative within the IRS tax code in an attempt to glorify qualify the IUL, which happens to be the product he sells. Now, don't get me wrong, an IUL does have some admirable qualities. It is capable of doing some things that no other financial tool can do. But that absolutely does not mean it should be the only prong in your tax-free strategy. I much prefer an approach that takes advantage of every tax-free nook and cranny within the IRS tax code. I want multiple streams of tax-free income, none of which show up on the IRS's radar, but all of which contribute to you being in the 0% tax bracket. Those tax-free streams of income include Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, Roth conversions, taking money out of your IRAs up to your standard deduction, the IUL, and if you can keep your provisional income low enough, then tax-free Social Security. The reason I recommend 6 different streams of tax-free income is because each one of these alternatives can do something that none of the other ones can do. For example, a Roth IRA gives you instant liquidity on your contributions. None of the other alternatives provide that. The Roth 401k gives you a company match. That's free money. That's an instant return on your investment. None of the others provide that. The Roth conversion allows you to convert an unlimited amount of money to tax-free. It should be the real workhorse in your tax-free retirement approach. None of the others can do that. Tax-free distributions from your IRA are like the holy grail of financial planning. You got a deduction upon contribution, it grew tax-deferred, and you took it out tax-free by offsetting the income with your standard deduction. None of the other tax-free alternatives can pull this off. The IUL gives you a death benefit that you can spend in advance of your death for the purpose of paying for long-term care. That makes it absolutely unique among the tax-free alternatives. It can also serve as an excellent volatility buffer. Build 3 to 5 years worth of living expenses inside your IUL by day 1 of retirement. Then in the year following a down year in the stock market, pay for your living expenses out of your cash value. That will give your stock portfolio a chance to recover before you take further distributions. That act alone will increase the sustainable withdrawal rate on your stock portfolio from 4% to as high as 8% with a 95% success rate. And then your tax-free Social Security shields you from a lot of different risks: tax rate risk, sequence of return risk, long-term care risk, and inflation risk. Before I conclude, let's perform a little experiment. Which advisor would you rather shepherd you through retirement? Advisor A, who recommends 6 different streams of tax-free income in an effort to take advantage of every nook and cranny in the IRS tax code? Or Advisor B, who simply recommends that you put every last penny of your retirement savings into an IUL? I know which advisor I'd rather work with. In short, anytime someone recommends you liquidate a retirement account you've been saving into your entire life and move it wholesale into an IUL, I get supremely uncomfortable, and so should you. The IUL does have some positive qualities, but it's hardly the financial panacea that Doug Andrew makes it out to be. If you're looking to incorporate the IUL into your strategy, make sure it's merely one of multiple streams of tax-free income that will land you in or near the 0% tax bracket in retirement. Why is the 0% tax bracket so important? Because if tax rates double, 2 times 0 is still 0. I'm David McKnight. Thanks for watching.